Where are we going?
The dump.
We're going to the dump. Why are we going to the dump?
Because we're going to move and we're getting rid of our junk.
We're getting rid of our junk. We have made the decision that we're going to move. We put our property up for sale. We're getting rid of everything. What do we get to keep?
What fits?
What fits? What fits in where?
Us.
In our RV trailer. We're going to get a little RV trailer that this truck can haul. We're going to live within our means, within our budget, within our space. And you can watch us. You can watch us on social media as we kind of go about little bits of our days, but YouTube is where we're going to put our story. So check us out there and follow us along. We're really excited about this. We finally made this decision and now it is officially public. We are moving and we're moving into an RV and we're going to travel the US and we're going to go to France and we're going to go to England and it's going to be awesome. All right, we're finally taking the leap. It's official. That's what this video is here to tell you. It's been a long process for us to decide what we needed to do for our family, and there were a lot of steps to take along the way, but we are officially taking the leap. We've put our property up for sale, we're getting rid of our junk, and we're moving into an RV. So basically everything is gonna go, and that's kind of the short end of where we are exactly right now, and we'll talk more about that process. But I think it's worth explaining what it took to get to this place. When I say finally, it's been about 3 years of journey to get to where we could make this final decision. So 3 years ago, we made the decision that we were going to sell the property.
It was kind of a hard decision to come up with anyway, because there were a lot of variables involved that were kind of out of our control. So we were kind of stuck in a way here.
Well, we weren't sure if we wanted to sell the property or keep it, because in some respects it does make money. It can be our future, it can be our retirement, and we kind of wanted to hold on to that. But as long as we held on to this property, we are always kind of stuck here.
We're kind of tied here, yeah.
And so that itself, just deciding to sell the property, was a really big decision for us. Once we decided that, we had kind of a lot of freeing about, hey, the world is our oyster. We really can go and do whatever we want. So the first year we made the decision we were going to sell, and I think with plans to put the property on the market early in the year, last year, so the second year. And we put it on the market with a friend of ours. It wasn't really heavily marketed, and property needed some work, and we didn't really get much of any interest for the majority of the summer. And we were really super bummed at the end of the summer that we were going to be here for an entire another year.
Whole nother year.
We painted most of the property. You can actually see some of that in some of our very first vlog videos. But that was a little hard to spend an entire extra winter here.
Being excited to go someplace and then realizing we're just going to have to stay another winter here. And the winter, you know, you have more bills. It costs more to heat the fourplex. And we
had vacant units. Like, all of this money is just pouring out of our one daycare income that we have. It was stressful. I have to say, it was one of the hardest seasons.
It wasn't the funnest time in our life.
No,
I'll put it that
definitely
way.
not. We've been running a home daycare at that point for several years, and we continued with our home daycare. We had a full crew of kids, which was great. We didn't have to kick anybody, kick all these families out, or anything like that. And we took a vacation in October, so we went to Seattle. But that's really not fulfilling our dreams to do some real travel and go overseas.
It was a fun trip.
It was fantastic, yeah.
But that Seattle is not very far away from Alaska, and taking one trip a year is not exactly traveling or vacationing.
Late in the year, we started talking about getting somebody new to help market our space, a bigger name. It wasn't that we didn't like our other guy. He was getting ready to retire. Anyway, so we picked a new agency, and they started marketing us at the beginning of the year. And we had an interested buyer, but it wasn't a good deal either for that buyer or for ourselves. It really just was not a good deal. And our property really just needed work. So at that point, we put 9 new windows in, we got our paint job finished, and the property's looking much better. And we had people coming in early in this spring. We had people coming in to walk through our property, but they're walking into a daycare space, and we've got a drum set in our living room, and there's toys, and our carpet's beat, and there's like 8 kids. Okay, there's like 4 kids, and they're all wanting to own or occupy, and they're looking at this space and our kind of our mess. I hate to say it, but it kind of is. I mean, we live in this space, and I can just feel that they don't get it. They're not interested in this, not the best neighborhood, and I got to live here, and it looks kind of dingy. And so our thought was, all right, well, we need to clear our actual living space out of our stuff so that when they walk through, it looks better. Well, that means our drum set and our exercise bike and these things that we're using every day, and our baby crib and our toys, but we're still doing a daycare and we still live here. And it got to a point where we were trying to figure out what to get rid of first. We're like, well, we can get rid of the baby crib. We can move the baby out to a mat. She was totally ready for that, our daycare baby. But there was a blowout. There was a huge blowout about the crib. And we had to make a decision. And we realized that the issue wasn't the crib. The crib was never the problem. Like, why are we arguing and all but yelling at each other about this crib and getting rid of the crib and keeping the crib? We put everything on the table. It's not about the crib. What's going on? What are we needing?
What are we stressed out about? And what is the reason? What is our outlook and what is our timeline? How we want to get rid of? How we want to do things to make things go in the most efficient manner.
The problem that we have is that everything is tied to the sale of the property. We're ready to purchase an RV and travel. We've had a lot of changes kind of in our plan for that too, but we can't do anything until the property sells. But we have a day job, but our day job's in the way of selling the property, and selling the property is in the way of the day job because they totally contradict each other. You want to stage your property for sale, and we couldn't do that with the daycare, and
Right.
So we had to take a leap. And we decided that we were going to close our daycare. We gave our families 5 weeks notice. Most of them were kind of already transitioning out. They were rather blindsided, even though we'd painted the building and put in new windows and redone our hallway and painted
And
everything.
we totally were talking about it in front of the children.
all the
Apparently-
kids were talking about moving into the RV, and I guess none of them
I'm
went home and
surprised
talked about
they
it.
didn't tell
some,
their parents about that, but
some of them are really
I
little.
guess they didn't.
The neighbor kids would come in, you're moving in 2 weeks, and like, oh, parent daycare families are in the doorway, and we're all shrugging shoulders, like trying, because they needed to know. That's why we haven't said anything until now, because the daycare families needed to know first. They needed to have the respect of knowing what was going on before they hear on Facebook that their daycare is closing and we're moving. And
Yeah, in retrospect, I think it was one of the most important things we could have done. The argument was not fun at the time, but I think it provided some answers that we really needed. And that's why we decided to shut down the daycare and start gradually getting rid of all of the items we've accumulated over the 5 years that we've been doing daycare. And now a lot of things are kind of falling into place really well.
so that was how we went about the decision, and it took several years. As far as getting rid of our stuff, I've had several years to kind of plan for this and really think about what I want to keep. But our decision to RV full-time, originally, we just wanted to be closer to Europe. If you're closer to the East Coast, you're half the cost and half the time. And so we thought about taking all our stuff and RVing across the U.S., probably with basically a lot of the good quality daycare things that we have, and finding a place to settle over on the East Coast that we could travel regularly to Europe. Well, even before that, we planned to just move out to Wasilla and then travel from Wasilla. But with that, we realized, with moving to Wasilla, we realized we're just picking up and doing the exact same thing in a cheaper home. And we don't really want to keep doing the exact same thing.
Really
So
what we wanted.
with our decision to move to the East Coast, it was actually rather funny. We looked at all of the states on the East Coast and started like eliminating states that we don't want to live in. Florida, we don't like where it's hot, we don't want to live with the snakes, I don't want to live in Boston and New York. And Maine was the only state that was left after we eliminated all the states that we didn't want to live in. So our plan had been to road trip across the US, have our daycare stuff as a backup plan for a job when we get there, and live in Maine. We don't know anybody in Maine, we've never been to Maine, we don't have family in Maine, but we're super excited about it.
And I don't even like seafood, so lobster's
That's
off the table for me.
totally true.
But I might just have to learn to like it.
So that was our plan last year, and then this year we realized we don't have to settle anywhere. We can keep living in the RV for as long as our finances are working, and as long as it works, really.
Right.
I mean, at any point you can settle anywhere you want. We do have the opportunity for daycare, which I can pick up. And yeah, I don't need a lot of supplies to start it. I need a space. But so that's where we are in our decision to sell our property, to sell all of our stuff, give it away. We're giving away all our stuff. To only carry what will fit in the RV and not pack any future daycare items. To not plan to move any particular place and settle, and to go to France and England
Pretty much.
and travel the US. So here we are. We are telling you that we're out to do this. We don't have a buyer yet. It was a risk to quit our daycare because we don't have a day job and we don't have a buyer yet. But I believe it will happen. And I suppose if something goes wonky, we'll pick up jobs and we'll pay. That's what you do. You make a living. You do what you have to do. But that is where we are in taking this leap to go out and see the world. We want to take Nathan out.
It's a little risky, and it's not very conventional, I'd say. But, you know, nothing really good happens unless you kind of jump out there a little, and it's going to work out really well.
Our plan is to do YouTube videos about the places that we travel. We would love it if you guys would follow us along, check those out. We're going to share our personal life on the road, what it's like to travel with CF, to travel with kids, to be a homeschool family, just live in an RV. To obviously, when we go to England and France, we're going to share those experiences, traveling overseas with medications and CF.
Hopefully that's just the start. There's a lot of other places that we want to go to.
Oh, absolutely. That's our start. That's with what we're kind of working off of, based with what we're expecting to leave with after selling our property.
Right.
And we hope that you follow us. So we're on all the social media, whatever your favorite is, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We still have recipes, so they're also on Pinterest, and we have a website, Semiserious Chefs. So that's who we are. This is Andrew. I'm Vanessa. Let's introduce ourselves at the end of the video. We're
That'd probably be a good
Semiserious
thing.
Chefs, and we would love it if you'd follow us along, and hopefully we inspire you. It's interesting. So maybe there's something to learn. We'd love to learn from you. If you have advice or ideas, please comment. And
No, I think that's about it.
that's what I've got.
Pretty well said.
So that's where we are. We're taking the leap. Hope you come along with us.